What is going on, my Jets family? I want to thank you guys, like always, for tuning in to the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast. Appreciate you guys being here on your Monday evenings, and I'm excited to talk to you about them Jets because we had an exciting game this last Sunday, and it was exciting. A lot of people are saying, they wish we hadn't won the game. They wanted us to, statistically get the first pick, and we're gonna get into all that. We're gonna talk about that. But the Jets won yesterday, so before we get in, if I could please ask, if you guys haven't, if you could subscribe to the channel, you could do so by clicking in the logo in the bottom right corner of the screen. That'd be much, much appreciated. Thank you. But let's jump in here for a second because there is a massive understatement, an understatement that is not getting enough heat right now. And that understatement is how the Jets, with basically half the team gone. 21 players, I believe, including Coach Sala. I believe it was 21 people on the COVID list. That's almost half the team. It's more than a third. It's a lot of people, a lot of starters too. So the Jets down that many people win. They pull off a victory. They play well. They played well on both sides of the ball, on offense and on defense. They played risky, which it's the end of the season. We're not making the playoffs anyway. So have a little fun with it. They went for it a lot on fourth down. I think it was a record for how many times they went for it on fourth down. They went for it a lot. And the defense also made a big stop at the end, a crucial big stop at the end to win the game. So a lot of people are saying, that, they wish the Jets hadn't won the game, right? You hear people saying, we could have had the number one pick. And you guys know how I feel about guys like Thibault, guys like Hutchinson, for example. We need that. I talked about that, if you remember, 2 podcast episodes ago, I believe, and whichever one it was, we were talking about, I believe it was last Monday. So last Monday, I believe we got into, talking about positional analysis. We talked about all the positions, and we talked about the edge rusher and how that is the real dynamic thing this defense needs. We talked about how they look really good on the interior of the defensive line. You could even put Franklin Myers in there. Linebacker, they look pretty good. Obviously looking great at corner. Gotta love that. Safety's an issue, but a dynamic edge rusher, one of those elite guys. So I understand people wanted that, but massive understatement. We won the game. We came out, won this game, the game that we really shouldn't have won. And Zach Wilson looked really good. He looked really good. So I do want to say, shout out, see a bunch of you guys there, see Michael there. Appreciate you saying, what's up, my man? Not feeling bad over a win. Every win is precious. It's true, man. It's true. Every win is absolutely precious. But winning is supposed to be a good thing. And it is. Now, this win, it means more than just a W right now. And that's the key. I put it out after the game, and I feel like that's what a lot of people are missing. They're looking small picture at the draft. And, the draft matters, and I care about the draft, as well as, anybody else. But as we saw last year, I wasn't really feeling, the idea of losing, even when you had the option of getting a quarterback. I didn't know if Sam was obviously the guy, after some time looking into it. I wanted to go in other directions. We talked about those directions, obviously. But obviously, we talked about how, tanking isn't a real thing. Players always play their hardest. They always try their hardest. So, and right now, more than anything, this win means much more than just a W. So we've talked about how, we have a rookie head coach, obviously, who wasn't there because of COVID. So we had Middleton calling the game, and that was pretty exciting and went pretty well. Maybe gives him an opportunity to potentially, maybe get a head coaching opportunity down the road. Maybe good for him somewhere else. But all these rookies across the board, Mike LaFleur, realizing that he's better in the booth. He's better as Mike LaBooth as opposed to Mike LaFleur. When you put him up there, it makes sense. Better vision, better ability to see what's going on, shifts how people are lying. It's a much better vantage point, especially for a guy like an OC. So it makes a lot of sense. A lot of things being figured out. We have a rookie quarterback, one of the youngest teams in the NFL. Chemistry, working together, development is so much more important than losing for a draft pick. Because, obviously getting a guy like Thibault, getting a guy like Hutchinson would be amazing. And I want that too. But as I pointed out after the game, it may not happen. But Douglas could trade up. We have what, the fourth pick right now. It's not insane to go from 2 to 4. We'd have to give up maybe our second rounder, keep our other first, so we could actually keep our other first in the process. Maybe trade up. Not saying it's going to happen, but it's an option. Joe Douglas has robbed teams blind left and right to the point where they ain't answering phone calls. They're afraid to pick up the phone because they're afraid he's going to trick them into something and make them agree to something they don't want to agree to. So done that and made great trades, great moves. I feel like I've said a great GM. Let's see what he does. Be interesting. But there's other guys in the draft. If we trust our GM, like we talked about on Tuesday, if we trust our GM to make these decisions, which I talked about for the first time starting to do, then you trust that he's going to find a top guy. It may not be the top guy. And again, you could still potentially get that guy, but winning is supposed to be a good thing because it is a good thing. But more importantly, like we were just saying, it means more than just a win right now. It's with a rookie quarterback, a guy developing like Zach Wilson. We've seen him getting better and better through the process, making better decisions. We talked about his accuracy being off and saying that his accuracy had never been a problem before. Well, yeah, it hadn't been a problem. It was everything else. Salah talked about his feet and his eyes. There's so many things that need to be put down. I have a perfect quote from Zach Wilson. It was actually from, I believe, 2 days ago. I'm going to bring it up for you guys right now. I'm sorry, I believe it was after the game. So after the game, they interviewed Zach Wilson. Got it right here. And Zach said, I felt relaxed and calm and had a good sense of what was going on, what I was getting. I felt like I was having fun out there and I was just able to play ball like I have my whole life. As you know, we've talked about it the weeks prior of him talking about, settling down and, being trusting more in his abilities and what he can do. The coaching staff telling him to be more decisive and take more chances. It's a learning process that we've consistently talked about. That's how it is with a rookie. But we're watching the progress unfold in front of us. And as I pointed out, I think the biggest progress is going to happen at the end of the season into year 2, into the offseason with another hopefully killer Joe Douglas free agency, another killer Joe Douglas draft. So if we're seeing this progress already, I mean, like I say here, for example, Zach Wilson had a great game on the ground and a great game on the ground. Zach Wilson had a 50, I think it was like a 56, 59-yard run. Man, that run was beautiful. He was tiptoeing. He was dancing. He faked dudes out. He bowled through a dude. Like, this is great. This is what you want. Like, you don't want your quarterback to get hurt, but he's a tough dude. He can take it. Remember, we talked about it. Everyone's saying, oh, Zach's too small. I was like, did you watch this kid play? Like, have you watched film of him? Like, I don't understand. Like, what are you talking about? It's crazy. And as we talked about, he's actually shorter than Trevor Lawrence, but heavier. He's denser. He's bigger. Now, Zach, like we said, was excellent in the ground game, pretty good in the passing game. But over this last month, Zach Wilson now, after yesterday's game, has 6 total touchdowns and one interception. Sorry, the other stat I was going to share with you was over the last 3 weeks, he hasn't thrown a pick. So Zach Wilson hasn't thrown an interception over the last 3 weeks. And over the last month, so the month of December, he has accounted for 6 total touchdowns through rushing and throwing, and only 1 interception. So Zach Wilson is developing right in front of our eyes. Like you mentioned in the quote I said, the game's starting to, basically like he's saying, it's starting to slow down for him. He's starting to figure it out. He's starting to realize, like we talked about when he had that game, excuse me, where his throw accuracy was bad and everyone was saying, oh, he can't throw the ball. And we're like, wait a minute, that wasn't a problem before. Like, that just magically, remember the joke I'd made that if they think he'd regress that far, that quick, they expected him to throw it backwards the next game. Like, what are you talking about? Like, things have to click and they're starting to click. And as we know, this is without Elijah Moore. This is without Corey Davis. This is without a top cast. He's still starting to click. And it's looked really good. And part of those offensive weapons that have allowed Zach Wilson to thrive. Got to talk about Michael Carter, baby. Michael Carter had his first 100-yard game of his career, but more impressive than that. Everyone's like, Michael Carter had over 100 yards. He had over 100 yards, but more impressive than that. Michael Carter had over 100 yards, had 118, but he averaged 7.4 yards per carry. Like, that's legit. Like, if you guys remember, I talked about Michael Carter in his senior year at North Carolina. Not only was he better than Javonte Williams in his numbers and his stats, but more impressively, his average. He always averaged a high amount of yards. Like, this dude, Michael Carter, had games in college where he was averaging like 8 yards a game, but he'd been rushing the ball almost 20 times. Well, that's what he did in this game. I believe I'll give you the exact number. Michael Carter had 16 attempts, had 118 yards with a 7.4 average. This dude balled out. So again, 100 yards is impressive, but that 7.4 is more impressive, because to rush that many times, have that many yards, but at 7 point, very impressive. Very impressive. As we know, Zach Wilson, we talked about a huge game on the ground, but also Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman has proven an excellent two-punch to Michael Carter's one. That has been an outstanding 1-2 punch. And again, Tevin Coleman is only 28 years old. You can easily sign him to another one-year deal. So we talked about it again when we did the positional analysis. That's one position that's looking damn good right now. Looking damn good. But onto the receiving options for Zach Wilson. We talked about Elijah Moore not being there. Corey Davis wasn't there. Mims was there, but I don't know if that's a good thing. But one good thing is Braxton Berrios, baby. Braxton Berrios had a huge kick return for a touchdown, as we saw. I saw one place had 101 yards, one said 103, one said 102. So it's one of those. So it's somewhere between 101 and 103 yards. But either way, it was impressive. It was a damn impressive return. It was good blocking. Like, he was barely touched. He was quick and fast right through that hole. So it was great blocking for him. But that huge return, and he was good in the receiving game. In fact, Robert Saleh even pointed out, and I have it for you guys, he actually said specifically in a quote, and I have it for you guys right here, if you just give me 1 second. Actually, when they interviewed Robert Saleh, he actually said, when he was talking about that, he said Zach had made some remarkable throws yesterday. He thought his decision-making was fantastic. His off-schedule stuff is starting to look natural. He's getting more comfortable, calmer in the pocket, great headspace. He then went on to talk about the Michael Carter sorry, my apologies, guys. Braxton Berrios. The Braxton Berrios catch, and how that was one of the best catches of the entire year. I had the quote right here, but trying to find it at the moment right now. But he literally said that, here it is, that third down to throw to Braxton Berrios, I'd argue, to Mike LaFleur, was the best throw Zach Wilson has made all season. He said it was a clutch throw. It was a clutch catch. It was on a critical down to keep the chains moving. It was absolutely crucial. So Braxton Berrios, like I say here, should have been a Pro Bowler. This dude, everyone's saying it now. The Jets were saying it. I've been saying it since we saw this. Braxton Berrios was named a first alternate to the Pro Bowl. That was a mistake, man. He showed you guys last week he's a starter. So Braxton Berrios should be. I don't know if they can make a change, make an addendum, but that's an addendum that should be made. Like, that dude, that huge return, again, great blocking, but great return and excellent receiving. Like Robert Saleh said, literally, he said, from being a crucial down to the positioning of Barrios to the eyes of Wilson, he said literally across the board, he's like, that's the best play I think he's made all year. So that was super, super exciting. So Braxton Berrios should have been a Pro Bowler. That's the statement. You're hearing it here, and it's got to happen, NFL. I don't know why. I don't know. Obviously, I don't think it can be changed at the moment, but it's a mistake. It's a mistake. He's a first alternate. Maybe somehow he'll make it, but he should have been a starter. Braxton Berrios, dude, should have been a Pro Bowler. And like I say at the end, they got to resign him. So him and Keelan Cole. You guys know I want to resign Jamison Crowder too, but okay, the way I look at it, Crowder's on the older side. He has had trouble playing full seasons pretty much. I'd be cool if we did focus on Barrios and Keelan Cole. Because again, Keelan Cole is also a young dude. He's been healthy for the predominant of this whole year. It's really just COVID that kept him down, I think, for 1 or 2 weeks. And he's been great. I've been saying, I think he's massively, massively underrated. So we need to focus on re-signing Braxton Berrios and Keelan Cole in this offseason. I think the two of them together, like we're looking at even if you give them like a 1-year deal, you're looking at maybe, I don't know, 3-4 million with maybe like $1 million or $2 million of it each guaranteed. Like, not a ton of money. I think you could even sign Crowder again if you wanted to, but I'd focus on those two guys. Bring back Braxton Berrios, bring back Keelan Cole. That way you have Corey Davis, you have Elijah Moore, like we talked about, on last Monday. If you guys haven't seen it when we did the positional analysis, That's another damn good wide receiver room. You can add a late round wide receiver, somebody you think has some potential. Again, they asked Robert Saleh today about Denzel Mims, and I want to throw that out there quick for a second. I'm going to bring that up too to share with you guys. So they asked Robert Saleh about Denzel Mims, and what he usually, as you know, the tune has always been, well, he's not one of the starters. That is what it is. But I guess, it is toward the end of the season. He does say he's not the first second-year player to ever struggle in the history of the NFL, and he won't be the last. He added that Denzel's going to have an opportunity. Nobody's quitting on him on this coaching staff, and he's not done yet, and his story is yet to be written. So we'll see if that remains to be true, but it's not wrong. We have seen players struggle in their second year. We've seen plenty of players have what they call literally a sophomore slump. So it's possible. So again, that wide receiver room has a lot of potential. It's pretty exciting there. So the other exciting point is CJ Mosley is having a career year, and it's being slept on. I think it's being slept on because we talked about it, and I had a whole episode on it. PFF has been doing CJ Mosley dirty this year, like absolutely dirty. Like they've been giving him like grades in the 20s and the 30s. When CJ Mosley, let's look at this here for a second, because I put out a stat today on CJ Mosley. So looking this up, I did a little quick research on it. CJ Mosley finished yesterday's game with 10 combined tackles, double-digit tackles. That was the 9th game this season he's had 10 plus. That's more than half the season. So for the 9th game, he's had 10 plus. He has 142 combined tackles on the season already. That's already a career high for him. So he's already broken most tackles he's ever had in his career, and it's 5th most in the entire NFL. So I could understand if you don't want to grade CJ Mosley in the high 90s or mid 90s or even high 80s. But to have him in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s, that is damn disrespect. Damn disrespect, because this guy is balling. This guy has been excellent this year. And again, it shows when you look at these numbers. So CJ Mosley is having a career year. I mentioned it, as you guys remember, I talked about on Monday. Technically, I think with the rookies we've taken and the potential we have, we could move on from CJ Mosley. It's very possible. Because again, we have Jamie Sherwood, who looked really good as the Mike, which surprised me. I didn't expect him to be the Mike, but he was doing it before he got hurt. Hamza Nasruddin, we've talked all about his potential. Still got Quincy Williams. You could re-sign Gerard Davis if you wanted to in another one-year deal. So CJ Mosley, depending on the right price. I mean, his contract is still steep, not as steep next year. But if somebody offers like a second-round pick, like a playoff-worthy team, a team like we did with Steve McClendon, like with the Steelers, a team that's ready to win now, obviously a higher pick than that, but it's possible. It's possible, but CJ Mosley is being slept on. This dude is having a career year. And you guys remember, I talked about, will he come back at the level he'd come back at? He's come back better. CJ Mosley has come back better, faster, stronger, just better. So hats off to CJ Mosley, and shame to PFF for doing the man dirty. Shame, shame, shame. So I got some quotes and highlights to share with you guys. Other quotes I wanted just to bring up with you and share. As you guys know, I cover a lot of the press conferences, try to bring you a lot of stuff, that not always the beat writers do. Try to bring you quotes, important, segments, snippets, things the coach says that I think are important that I want to share with you guys. Just to bring some of them up, just from today, they asked about Robert Saleh and how the team performed with so many people out, with so many players on the COVID list. Because again, we talked about it, half the team was out. And I mentioned it before. I do want to go back to it. And that's why I wanted to bring this one up. So I do go back to this means more than just a W now, because it does. The biggest thing we always talked about here was the culture change, right? That's what we talked about. We talked about changing the culture from a losing culture, from a disgrace, from the ones that people laugh at. You guys remember, I don't want to get too pissed, but I was pissed. You guys remember I was angry. I kept saying I didn't want to be a laughing stock anymore. And you guys know how I feel. You feel the same way. You don't want to be that team that everyone's like, oh, it's the Jets. Oh, this. Oh, we expect that. It's typical. It's the Jets. SOJ. I don't want to hear that anymore. This is the culture change. And that's why winning is so important. On a team that, again, almost half the starters and half the team was gone, they found a way to win. They found a way to pull it together and win a game against the team. Again, the Jaguars had guys out too, but not to the level the Jets did, not even close to the level that the Jets did. So that was really big, and it shows the culture change. I want to bring it up because Michael Carter said it the best. I have a quote from him. They interviewed him after the game, and they asked him about the win, and he instead decided to talk about the passion. Michael Carter said the passion that we played with today, I'm just so proud of. More than the win. Moving forward, that's something in the NFL we can definitely build on. And that you couldn't say it better. That's the point. It's building. We talked about it, building the bridge. You can't build the bridge with trying to lose to get a top draft pick. It doesn't work like that. You want your quarterback to develop. You want your team to develop. So this win, again, with so many guys out, for the chemistry, for the morale, for the confidence of the team, to be able to say we walked away with a win when we were down by this much with these many guys out. That's a big deal. That's a big difference. So this W, like, it means so much more. It means so much more to this developing team. Like Michael Carter pointed out, it's part of that culture change. It was 100% part of that culture change that we are working toward. So other updates to give you guys. I know you saw Connor McDermott's touchdown. Here's an interesting one. I don't know if you guys caught that yesterday. There were actually 3 offensive linemen that caught receiving touchdowns. Like, there was one, the Jaguars, as you guys remember, he got it in the end zone. That was a fumble recovery. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the Cowboys and the Eagles. They had legit linemen that caught passes. Now, McDermott's was the best. Let's clarify that. Connor McDermott ran a route. This guy started on the left side of the end zone and faded his way through the middle like a receiver would to make himself open. So McDermott gets the trophy. Like, it's not even a question. If you guys remember, they joked about it before the game. The McDermott used to play tight end, and he joked with Middleton, like, what route do you want me to run, coach? And he's like, dude, you're not getting the ball. Just chill. Like, go away. Like, we're not dealing with this now. But he ran a legit route and caught a legit pass. So that was some good stuff, man. That was some really good stuff. So he was one of 3 offensive linemen, though, to do it yesterday. That's NFL history. That was the only time 3 offensive linemen in one day caught, each had a receiving touchdown in NFL history. And again, McDermott's was the best. McDermott had the best touchdown there. So as you guys know, a lot of Jets, we just talked about, were in COVID protocol. The Jets announced a bunch of them will be getting better, or at least coming out of protocol, which I'm hoping means getting better. Those guys are Tanzel Smart, Foley Fatukasi, which great to have Foley back, Lamar Jackson, JFM, same thing, huge to have him back, Noah Dawkins, Hamza Nasruddin, and Kenny Yeboah. Those guys will be back this week, as Salah said, pretty much guaranteed. Now there's also Sherrod Niesman, Michael Carter II, and Ashton Davis. They might be back. So those 3 guys are a question mark. He said they're not as far in the process of clearing as the other guys are. So those first guys I mentioned is 7 guys there. So that makes a difference. And out of them, you got Foley, who is without a doubt a starter. I mean, Rankins has looked okay, but Foley's been great, man. Let's be honest. I mentioned it before. I think Foley and Quinnen, that's where the interior of that line is at. So Foley and JFM also, having them back is going to be big for that pass rush, because it really wasn't there in the Jaguars game. We saw it. They didn't really have a pass rush. Bryce Puff was the best pass rush, and he wasn't really that great. So some other updates as well. They asked Coach Salah about returning. He said he feels great. His numbers have been trending up for a couple of days now, so he feels he'll be back within the next day or 2. So that's huge. Coach is back. Remember that culture change. Just obviously he's been part, and that's the point. That's actually an interesting point to bring up for a sec, if I may quickly, because that's a really interesting point here. He wasn't there. By instilling the right culture, by having the right people that, remember, not the Jets picking who they are, by him having the right people in place, he was able to step out, and the culture kept going. They played at a high level as if he were there. Like he mentioned, he said in his interview, in his press conference today, they played violently, like he talks about all the time. They played with purpose. He loved it. He was so excited. Like, in fact, you could tell he wasn't feeling that great. But when they asked him literally how, and I saw this, that was interesting. They asked him how he felt they did. He perked up a little bit, not a lot. Like, it wasn't like huge difference, but he perked up just a little bit in that answer where he was saying how they played so well, and they, basically did him proud, basically was what he was saying, and that he couldn't be there, but Middleton did a great job, and you got to love that, man. That just, again, is part of that culture change, 100% part of that culture change, but he'll be back soon. So he'll be back. So I do have an interesting one for you guys that I do want to bring up. Okay, so we mentioned the other ones. So I do want to end and get to you guys with the Mekhi Becton update, because that's a big one. As you know, all season, it's been like the white whale, or the elephant in the room, basically, is the better way to put it. It's been like the elephant in the room that people don't want to talk about. Like every single press conference, they've asked Robert Saleh, what about Mekhi Becton? And at first it started with like, oh, he should be back in a week or two. He's trending up. He's going in the right direction. It turned into him making a joke out of it. Like Robert Saleh was like, we'll see. You'll know. You'll see him when you see him. It finally turned into today, because there's only 3 games left in the season. It finally turned into today, where Robert Saleh said, he was honest. Robert Saleh said he's not going to play this year. He said, barring a miracle, is basically what he said. Barring a miracle, we're not going to see Mekhi Becton play this year. And as you guys remember, I gave you my opinion of what was going on with Mekhi Becton and why we hadn't seen him play. And I feel like Robert Saleh kind of confirmed that. So what happened was he basically said that, and then he was pressed a little bit on what he meant by that. So he was pressed a little bit on what he meant. And I liked it because he actually got into it. He actually, for the first time, explained it. It was always just, how's Mekhi? He'll be there. Next question. And it was a move on. But this time they said, well, if he's not playing this season, will he be ready for next year? Things like that. And Robert Saleh gave a little bit of information. He said that he clarified that the surgery went really well, that his surgery went very well. There were no setbacks or issues. He stressed that. He said there's not a single setback or an issue at all. However, and he emphasized this, he said, however, Mekhi Becton is a big man. And we know that. He's a much bigger, there's a reason he's a mountain. He's a much bigger man than most human beings are. Even for offensive linemen, he is a very big man. So he has a longer healing process. And that basically is what Robert Saleh said. He went on to say that everyone heals differently, and that his is taking longer than they expected it to take. So he said that because at first he said that it wasn't as good as they thought, and they asked him again, and he wanted to clarify. So it was good. So he got into a lot of detail. He said again, he stressed no issues, no setbacks. So he said there's not a problem. There wasn't an issue with any of the surgery, and everything was a complete success. However, they expected him back within X time frame, which I think was like 12, 14 weeks. Clearly, he's gone beyond that. And that's what Robert Saleh's meant, that he's a big man. And he said big man 3 times. So clearly, that's part of the process, that Mekhi Becton is a big man. And we know that, and it comes with the positives and the negatives. The positives we've seen on the field, the man is a mauler. He is the pancake king of the NFL. When he was drafted, I said after watching him at Louisville, that Mekhi Becton will slowly become the pancake king of the NFL. And he, without a doubt, is one of, if not the biggest pancake king in the NFL. So he's a big, big man, but with it comes this. So I pointed it out a couple of weeks ago before we got this information, that he's not healthy. Clearly he's not 100%, but he's not bad. Like we've seen him. Remember, there's been like the jokes at practice, so like a Mekhi Becton spotting, and you see him jogging on the sideline. You see him without pads on, but you see him jogging, and it's a Mekhi Becton spotting. Clearly he's not to the point where he's like still broken, but he's not ready yet. The season is over. We're trending in the right direction, though. Like we mentioned before, we're looking good. We want to keep winning because we want to see the chemistry build, the team get better, the confidence build. But there's no chance of making the playoffs. So Mekhi Becton isn't 100%. Why rush him out? If you remember, we talked about it. That was the issue last year. It's the only reason people even think he's injury prone. Because last year, they kept letting him go back out. We talked about this. Excuse me. Remember, they kept asking Mekhi Becton, well, you think you're ready to go? And he's like, yeah, I want to play. Of course he wants to play. When we joke back in the 80s, the dude would get nailed in the head with like a 2x4, and he's like, I'm ready to go. But he's running into the stands. He's still ready to go. The player's always ready to go. You're the adult in the room, and clearly we didn't have that last year. So now we do. We have the adult in the room, and we're complaining about it. We need to accept the fact that, you know what? George Fant's looked damn good at left tackle. Like this obviously Morgan Moses has been a bit of an issue. And this offensive line this last week against the Jaguars, it wasn't good. It wasn't good by any way, shape, or form, but there were some shining spots. And one shining spot was George Fant's pass blocking. Now, he didn't do great run blocking. I think he had like a 50-something grade, but he had an 88-point-something pass blocking grade, which was the highest of any Jets player. So this dude can play. So Robert Saleh ended it with, I want to make something clear, because they kept asking him questions. So he's like, I want to make something clear that Mekhi Becton has just been taking it easy because he's a big man. And if he really needed to, he could be ready to go, and he'll be back for 2022. He then went on to say he was excited for him to have his first full offseason, because he pointed out how he never had a full offseason through OTAs, through mini camps, an entire process. And they were excited about that. So they wanted to get him 100% healthy and ready for the offseason to go in to develop and keeping the guy. Now, that's awesome. We should be excited by that. The coach is confirming, yeah, Mekhi Becton could play right now, but he's not going to play because it doesn't make sense for him to play. Why would we play him is basically what he's saying. So, like you said, he's a big man. He's obviously taking longer to heal, but he stressed the fact that there's no setbacks and there's no issues. There's nothing to the point where, oh my God, should we be concerned? It just takes him longer with his size, which I guess, again, is understandable. It's one hand waxing the other. You got the positives of the big man. There's going to be negatives to the big man. That's just how it rolls. You got your positives, you got your negatives. So they said he will be ready for 2022. So now we go into the season where, okay, we got Mekhi Becton, who as a rookie looked like one of the best emerging left tackles in the game. Like, we have to remember that NFL Network picked Mekhi Becton to be the emerging premier franchise left tackle of this season before he got hurt. He was great in his rookie season. We even argued he should have been a Pro Bowler as a rookie. And George Fant, granted, he hasn't been a great run blocker. He's been a damn good pass blocker, like damn good pass blocker. So we go into this season with, as we've talked about in the past, a great problem to have, more solutions than problems. We have two great guys that have played really, really great at left tackle. And like I mentioned, if they decide, hey, we're going to keep George Fant at left tackle and play Mekhi on the right, I'm cool with that. You know what? George Fant killed it this year. George Fant earned the right that if that happens, we should all be cool with it. And Becton, as we mentioned, is a mauler. It's always good to have a mauler on that right side. I mean, not every team plays strong side, weak side anymore, but if you do, it's good to have a mauler on that right side. But either way, we got two solutions. So that's an exciting thing. So the Mekhi Becton, finally, I guess Robert Saleh had enough. He'd been pushed. He gave the answer. And that was a really good answer. And he finally divulged the information. And I thought that was really great. So that was the information that he divulged. So that's basically, I wanted to give you guys, again, updates on everything going on. I think that was basically it. I appreciate all you guys here. I appreciate your comments. Let's see what you guys got. We got Kevin here. Appreciate you, my man. He said he's starting to get his mojo. He is. Zach Wilson definitely is. It's what we want. Rusty Spooner saying, what's up, everyone? Zach is starting to blossom and the haters are pissed. They're going to hate, man. They're going to hate and they can hate all they want, but whatever. They can hate, but we're here. It's finally our time, man. It finally is. And I'd said it, Zach Wilson, it's going to take a little while. I mean, it's not going to be automatic, but we're seeing progress. We're seeing beautiful things happening in front of our eyes. It's exciting, man. It's exciting. Kevin saying, how are you? I'm good, man. I'm good. Good to see you. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for tuning in. Everyone's talking about the haters. We got haterade. We got good old-fashioned haterade for the haters. I'm so tired of the haters. I've made up my mind that Zach is the real deal. I mean, again, he's developing, man, but I really do. I believe from what I saw in college, the development this kid's made he's always learning. He's always getting better. We talked about how, his issues were a lot more than just what everyone seemed to have seen. It's exciting. We're seeing it develop in front of our eyes. Like we talked about, Trevor Lawrence has struggled, but Zach Wilson has 6 total touchdowns and only 1 interception for the month of December. So he's making massive progress very quickly. So I'm excited for his potential, and they're just going to keep building this team around him. Kevin points out we need to resign Barrios. Man, Barrios and Keelan Cole. I've mentioned it before. Keelan Cole for locker room presence alone. Like we've said it, this dude, he's energetic. He's engaged. He's exciting. Like the players love him. They gravitate to him. And he's a damn good receiver. He's a damn good receiver that doesn't get enough appreciation. So I've always wanted Crowder as well. But I've ceded to the fact that Barrios is younger and he stayed healthy and he's really, really grooved with Zach Wilson, plus been a great return guy. Braxton Barrios and Keelan Cole have to be priorities. Those two guys, even if Cole's just a 1-year deal and Barrios gets a few years, they need to be resigned. Whatever they decide, both of those guys need to be resigned. Kev points out Jets win, Seahawks lose, Panthers lose, perfect week. You never know. It could happen. We could always move up. But again, Joe Douglas can maneuver. You can wheel and deal. This man knows how to wheel. This man knows how to deal. He knows what he's doing. So the most exciting thing is to win. We want to win. Even last year, I talked about it earlier. Remember, even last year when we were going for the quarterback, you still wanted to win because that's what you want. You want your team to succeed. And this is so much more important than before because now we're building for something. We talked about all those rookies, rookie head coach, rookie OC, rookie quarterback. all those rookies, one of the youngest teams in the NFL. This is so important for their chemistry, for their confidence as a unit, for their development. It is so crucial. Keep winning, keep dominating. You can always wheel and deal. There's always someone to find in the draft. Joe Douglas knows what he's doing. He's proven that. I pointed out last Tuesday for the first time ever, I trust the process. I do. And by that case, we got to win. We got to keep being successful. So appreciate all you guys. Appreciate all your comments. Rusty pointing out he looks Elway-esque. I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping. Very possible. Very possible. Kevin points out that Braxton reminds him of Wayne Corbett. That's interesting. That's interesting. I mean, he's definitely a tough dude. Braxton Barrios, we've seen him. He's pretty jacked. So a Wayne Corbett, like a Wes Walker, one of those guys. Wes Walker. They could Walker on our team. Getting confused with some Jets. Well, Walker. Appreciate all guys. Appreciate Jeremy. Jeremy's here. Hey, what's up, my man? Yeah, man, I appreciate all you guys. Appreciate all your comments. Appreciate all you guys tuning in. If you guys do have any questions, please let me know. Anything you want me to bring up, any things you want to mention. But again, we look at that draft order. There's plenty of wheeling and dealing. And right now, I believe we sit at 4. Going to 1 ain't too crazy. It's not. But guys like Hutchinson could be available 2 or 3. Might have to only go up 1 or 2 picks. Maybe someone trades up for a quarterback. You never know. A lot of interesting things that can happen. So be exciting to see. We always see players fall in the draft, but the exciting part is to win. And as we said, this W means much more than a win right now. It means development for the future. It means the chemistry. It means the camaraderie. It means everything. Success, this team playing well, trending in the right direction, that means the most right now. That is the most important thing. It is the most important thing. So I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys for being here and being part of the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast. I know you could be a lot of different places. Appreciate you being here with me. Appreciate you here listening to me talk about them Jets. As you guys know, feel free to bring all your comments, bring questions, bring anything you want me to talk about, a topic. Let me know. We can definitely bring it up. But I do really appreciate all you guys being here. So thank you for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you guys next Monday as well. Let's win another game. We got the Patriots. I'm just thinking I got Tom Brady on the brain. We got the Bucks and Tom Brady. But you know what, man? Let's take them. You know what? Let's keep winning. If we can win that game, just be amazing, man. Be amazing. Let's just keep going. That's what I say. So, what do we got? We got 2 more weeks in the season. Gonna bring it up quick. I know we got the Bucks on a Buffalo. That was it. So we got the Bucks and Buffalo. Man, we can do it. We can do it. We're at Buffalo, but man, let's stick it to them. Let's stick it to them. They're trying to get in the playoffs. I don't want to talk about the Patriots and Mac Jones. Don't even want to talk about it, but man, let's do it. Let's keep winning, right? Let's keep kicking some butt. So I appreciate all you guys being here. Rusty says Happy New Year's. Appreciate you, my man. Kevin says the same. Happy New Year's. Appreciate you guys as well. Hope you guys had a Merry Christmas. Hope your holiday was awesome. Hope, whatever you celebrate, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, I hope it was amazing. Hope you're with your family and you're with the people that matter and you got to have a great time with them and you got to have love and joy, and that's all you could really ask for. So Happy New Year's to you guys as well. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful New Year's. I want to thank you again for tuning in. Thank you for being here. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. I hope the Jets keep winning. I want to see the success keep going. And Joe Douglas, I'm telling you, man, with one more good draft, one more quality free agency, this team could be something. We're going places, guys. We're going places. So thank you again, guys, for being here. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. Let's go, Jets.